What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Carolina Keith, regular Keith, Professor Keith. Oh no, Keith again. I know. I'm sorry, but we got to report what's going on. The only way to know what's going on is to be involved with what's going on. Fair enough? Fair enough. Hope everybody had a good couple days. You probably didn't. Things got a little wild here. Hope everybody. Things got a little wild in the old chart world. We're going to dig into it. I had some errors over here for a second. We're going to dig into it right now. Welcome, everybody, to Crypto After Dark. Go hit like for us. It costs absolutely nothing. Hit the notification bell while you're there so you don't miss anything we do. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe for us, bro. Costs absolutely nothing to hit the subscribe button. Don't miss anything we do that way. You'll see everything that comes up. Jazz music drops. Let's get right on into it. Well, Tuesday was an interesting day. Things turned green on us in a hurry, right? Until yesterday, Wednesday, we get more wonkiness. We got bang, bang, bang days, red, green, red, green, red, green. What's going on here, right? Well, sometimes it's more important to kind of zoom out a little bit and see what's going on in a much larger, grander scheme. And I think that's what we're going to start with here this week. On Thursday. So this is our typical normal stream. We've been doing this one for working on 6 years now. It's been a long time, or 5 years, a long time since we've been doing these streams. And I'm really proud that we've been around as long as we have. We haven't quit. And if you're still here, that means you haven't quit either. And that's hella awesome of you, dude. This is extremely trying times. Every time we get ahead, we get punched in the mouth again. Every single time it looks like we've gotten it figured out, pop, we get another hit. So for those of you that are still out there watching, y'all are gangsters, man, and I appreciate it. I really do. So let's talk about the issues here. First thing I want to do is note that the weekly has a couple, we've talked about this before, a couple terrible looking candles here. What do I mean by that? Well, this candle, this red one right here, not great. It's a bit of a spinning top at the top of a run. Now, spinning top at the top of a run is just a simple candlestick pattern, but more importantly, the point of this is it often shows reversals, all right? It looked like we were going to reverse when that came in. Then we followed it up with a bullish engulfing. That was nice. That was a bullish hammer right here, right? Excellent. And then what? The next week after that, we battle right back to the 8 EMA on a big weekly failure. Week after that, no fear. Big green weekly bullish engulfing. Excellent, right? The week after that, that red candle right here is what we call a shooting star. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about shooting stars. What do? They fall from the sky. Does that sound like something you want to be a part of? Well, probably not. So, bad news cometh. Now, the other issue here not only is the fact that this week started off very terrible and immediately attacked the 8 EMA and is now trying to close up under the 8 EMA. Besides that, note, this thing is dead stuck on resistance. And if I flip this chart upside down and we saw this, we would be going, ooh, well, that's a bullish sign. I wanted to see that finally showing me a little bit of something. Problem, I flipped the chart upside down for you to be able to see that. This is a tough look. Not only did we get a couple reversal candles, but we are dead stuck under that resistance level of $120,000. Now, where does it go from here is the question. So, on a weekly time frame, it's best to look at this from a broad view. I would like to see this thing reclaim the 8 EMA weekly by the end of the week. So that's in 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The problem is, if I shift over here to CME charts, where things are a little bit trickier, the price for that is going to be a little bit higher. It's actually a little bit lower, 114 flat. So I need to see Bitcoin hold 114 flat, and this needs to happen by tomorrow afternoon. Why? Because CME charts, which is what you see in front of you here, they close early on the weekends and they don't open until Sunday afternoon. We don't want any movement on the weekends because that creates CME gaps. Those CME gaps create big problems for us later down the road. Big speed bumps that we have a really, really hard time getting over. It's very, very frustrating dealing with what we're dealing with. I can't sit around and watch weekend price action continue to ruin what we're doing. I can't control monetary policy. The government's going to do what they're going to do. I can't stop them or start them. So all I'm doing is I'm bound by what we've got here, reading the data. Unfortunately, it looks like the data is showing that we're slowing up. Sorry about the stutter there. That's alliteration, showing that we're slowing up. That was rhyming too. Anyway, I need to see this back over 114 by the end of the week. And I need to see the CME chart over that by the end of tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, even more downside. All right. How far? Well, let's go to regular Bitcoin again. And I'll pull it up here. I've got some liquidity levels drawn for everybody to see. And I also got a very, very vicious downtrend drawn right there for the 4 hour. And I'll get to that in a moment, okay? But right first, we're going to do the daily. So for now, we're trapped in between. We're trapped in between the 50 moving average, the 821 EMA, the exponential moving averages, but we are above the 100-day moving average in this red box with this green box at the bottom. I'll show you what those mean in a second, but more so I want you to focus on the fact that we're stuck in between two lines here, kind of ping-ponging back and forth after a very rapid sell-off, and we almost made a new low right here. You see that? We're kind of playing around with it now. Haven't necessarily made a new low, haven't necessarily broken out. It's thinking about it. I need to see this chart break back over this trend line on the positive side of that to change my mind. Now, I think there's a good possibility it may do it. If it doesn't do it, the downside is very, very steep here. What do I mean by very, very steep? Well, our liquidity levels show us between $110,000 and $109,000 of a gut punch. Now, if it really wants to take all of the long liquidity all the way down to 107, really punches us in the gut pretty hard, and you'll see a lot of orders close up lower than that because our next lower level below that is 98,000 to 99,000. Now that could get very, very ugly very, very quickly if this thing doesn't stay above support. It has support. That's the red box that you see right here. All right. So long as it stays above that red box, technically we're all right. All right. Now it's going to hurt, obviously, but technically we're all right. Slowly but surely, Bitcoin has turned into a more common asset that trades a little bit like everything else, has its ups and has its downs, but we've seen price action sort of kind of slow down a little bit and be a little bit more realistic. Now, that doesn't mean always. Obviously, what we had recently happen wasn't very realistic, was it? It was very, very snappy and very, very sharp up and down. That's not very typical of what we see on our typical indices and our typical stocks, bonds, and equities, right? So it's still got some maturing to do, but things have slowly changed and went back into the regular direction. Well, the good side behind that is it's a little easier to read. The hard side behind that is we're not going to make as much from it. So I'm going to drop down to 4 hour and you'll see what I mean here. So this is the very aggressive downtrend that I was talking about. Touch. 5 touches on the trend line here underneath every moving average, but you are fighting the 8 EMA here. All right. Why is that red box important? Well, if I draw this just so, and I start down here at the low and I'll pull this up here to the high like so, you'll see not only are we playing around with 786, 886 here, but we're also playing around with that one fib where the low was. And as you see, we simply have not closed underneath it yet. She's trying to get back over Sniper's Alley, which is where that 886 level is, about 113, 275. But again, 114 is what we really need. We may see that happen by New York session in the morning, which starts at about 9 a.m. Now, obviously, it's a little before that. We get pre-market, but you can start trading at 9:30 unless you have the money to get into a funded account. Then you can get to 9 o'clock hours. You get the extra 30 minutes. There's money to be had there. Now let me go down a little lower here, down to the 1 hour. Now, this seems silly, I know, because we rarely talk about these low time frames. Don't really care to show them because people don't have time to trade them. But if this fails, and so far it has not broken that red trend line right there, we look a little lower here and you start to see 1.272, 1.414, 1.618 kind of lines up right there. Not to mention, we got the 2 fib right down there where that liquidity level is. You see that we are not very far at all from liquidating a ton more longs. And there are a lot of heavy longs right through here. I think the longer we sit under this trend line, the more likely it is we attack those longs. Don't want to see it, but it is what it is. All right. Got to own it at this point. Now let me fade back out to the weekly fractals here. Let me drop the camera off. 2016 on the left, 2020 on the right, 2020 now, 2024, 2025 right now in front of us. Note, same time 8 years ago, we were flying pretty high. Same time 4 years ago, we were in recovery mode. And right now, we're sort of in between. This has been a bit of a hybrid for both of these charts on the left and the right. We're getting a hybrid of both of them. We still never made it to our big 1414 fib, which is where we were both before and after this on the left and right here, where we were ahead of this point. Kind of expected this not to last forever. So again, as long as this thing stays above, roughly 110, you got another chance at running up to those highs. Problem is, the longer this takes, the less likely it is to happen. All right. How about the monthly? Well, so far we're still hanging out over the parabola. As you see, we're sort of plugging along here 12 years ago, 8 years ago, 4 years ago, and now slowly but surely the law of diminishing averages and returns has played out, and it will continue to do so as the chart continues to pinch down. Every little move becomes a higher percentage move. High time, but low time, not so much. So we're still technically okay. We have 9 more days in this month for this thing to correct itself and get right. Obviously, I'm not too happy about what's going on with the federal government as far as, hey, are we going to cut rates or not? It appears that the whole world is sitting, watching, and waiting on Jerome Powell to make a move, and they're not going to do it. So the longer we have to wait, the longer we're waiting for monetary policy to change, the less likely we are to get what we want. We only have a finite amount of time for Bitcoin's move to happen here. If it doesn't happen by the end of the year, she's cooked. That's just all there is to it. We need this thing to get going. We need to get going quick. All right. I'm here for it. I hope it goes, but I can't do anything about it not. All right. What's up, Phonetic Duck, Dab, Sir Sigma, Crew Chief, BTC volatility at its lowest this entire bull cycle to your point. Right, it's weird. What's up, Killer Smile? What's up, Cheese Brother? What's up, Cousin Jeremy? What's up, SoCal Residency with the repost? What's up, Rope-a-Dope? Give us a repost, Rope-a-Dope. Give us a repost, Jeremy. Shout out to the repost, Cheese. What's up, Raging Beagle? Good to see you, brother. Long time no see. Talk to you a little bit in the DMs. Hey, man, we all go through it. I get it, bro. I get it. I realize sitting in here sometimes, dude, I got to put my glasses on. My eyes are hurting. So there's another problem. I noticed it last night. It's happening again, right? My vision's starting to blur out real bad. So I sit in here and I stare at the screen so long that my eyes become not even necessarily blurry. It's just as if all the colors start to blend together. And I have a really nice monitor set up in here. So it's not that. It's just the fact that I'm in here doing this for so long and so much. It's just absolutely nuking my brain. I mean, really, realistically speaking, this started off as a hobby. You know what I mean? This was just something that I did for fun because I was irritated. And if for you guys who don't know this, oh, thank you, Jeremy. For you guys who don't know the Genesis story here, this stream started and this whole thing started because we were kind of told not to chart things or not to do things the way that logically showed things might happen. We were told to not do that. We were told to shut up, be quiet, to follow the hopium, right? And we didn't do that. We've been outlaws since the beginning, kind of, you know what I mean? It's been a bit of a rebel attitude since the beginning. We've lost some really good people along the way, and I really, really, really hate to see some of the things happen that happened. You know what I mean? Like, man, I met some good people. I mean, there were some good people online, at least. You know what I mean? Like, in person, it's hard to say because I met some people in person that I kind of wish I shouldn't have met too. You know what I mean? Met a lot of people because of crypto. Met a lot of people all around the world because of crypto. I don't want this thing to end, but I can't control it. And if this is how it's going to be and it's going to slow up and stop, we just got to take our lumps and deal with it. You're going to see me go over some altcoins here in a moment, and it's going to be pretty brutal. All right. Bottom line is I can't change that. I just got to call it straight like it is. I've been wrong multiple times this cycle. I've been right a lot. Not the point. People care more about being wrong. You know what I mean? People care more about when you're wrong than when you're right. You can be right 100 times and be wrong once, and that once is magnified 110 times larger than the one time you were right. It's just part of the deal, I guess. And for what it's worth, I started out not being very good at taking scrutiny. I'm a sore loser. I don't like losing. And when I lose, I want to know why I lost. I don't want to just hear, oh, it was because of this, and you give me a BS reason. I want you to show me how you beat me. And that's kind of how this started. I wanted to know how someone beat me. You know what I mean? I wanted to know what I was doing wrong. So we set out to start this and make this thing out to where everyone could come and watch live charts for free. You could come and see what's going on, get some basic technical analysis, some basic data to make better decisions about when you want to buy and sell, right? I never intended for anyone to come on here and copy what I'm doing. I never intended to make enemies. I don't know. It's just not as much fun as it used to be. You know what I mean? It used to be a lot more fun. I used to really, really enjoy coming on here and doing these live streams because I got to talk to all you guys. It used to make me nervous and shit, you know what I mean? I used to come on here and I'd get like the shakes and I'd have to catch myself and have these, oh no, what are you doing moments. And now it's just kind of like, I mean, it's sort of a burden. You know what I mean? It's just not as fun as it used to be. So I still want it to be fun. I still want us to do the best we can with this. But man, I'm very, very prepared to take a much needed break when this is all said and done. Because dang, this has fried my brain. This has really fried my brain. Hey man, take it how you get it. You know what I mean? There's nothing I can do about it now except kind of roll with it and see if we can make the best of it. Fair? All right, fair. Let's get off into it. Shall we? And we shall. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to be real with everybody, you know? I don't like the fake stuff. I'll try to be as real as I can every time I come on here. You know what I mean? Let's just be real about it. All right, so Ethereum. Great job running up to the highs like it did, Ethereum. Slowdowns are required, so I'm not super upset about it, Ethereum. Problem, big slowdown, and it's now stuck under the 8 EMA and hasn't quite gotten over the hump yet. And because of that, we haven't had that big breakout secondary to the first one that we had. Now, I want to give you a precipice here to say this weekly's fine. This weekly's testing previous all-time high, or previous cycle high. I'm sorry, not all-time high, previous cycle high. So far, just back testing it, but this weekly candle hasn't necessarily convinced me of much of anything just yet. I think we may get another week or two of back test before we get another try to go up. Not certain about that. We'll see. Let's go look at every chart we do tonight. I want to do versus Bitcoin as well. And the reason I say that is it's everything behind Bitcoin until it's not anymore. And we'll go over Bitcoin dominance and stuff in a minute too, because it's just crippling. Every time we get a move, Bitcoin dominance soaks it back up. By the way, fellas, over on YouTube, we have 3 likes. Y'all, go hit like, man. What are you doing? Help us out. It's not for me, it's for us. The more people who watch, the more people who learn our names, the more people who remember what we're doing, the more people who make better decisions. All right, go hit like. You guys over on X, videos running right now. The live stream's running. Go give us a like, bro. It's free. It costs nothing. What's up, Bill Childers? All right, so here's Ethereum versus Bitcoin. For the weekly, hell of a rip. This thing was getting crushed, right? And what's interesting is, if we can go back in history here a little bit, I showed you this chart many live streams ago, and I said, hey, look, every time after halving, shortly after halving, right, we have a run up for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Shortly after halving, run up. Shortly after halving, run up. Excellent. So it finally did what I was hoping it would do. The only problem I've got here is we haven't created a new high yet. This thing is still underneath the previous highs, and I don't know if it's going to have the juice to break out. It's over the monthly 821 EMA, right? Or the 8 EMA is fighting the 21 EMA now. This is broken over the 50 moving average monthly every single time in every other bull run before. It was a little weak last time. The first time was a little stronger, and I'm not sure we're going to get any more power out of this. I don't know that for sure. But if we're ever going to get up here to these upper levels, we have to break these moving averages on the higher time frames. it's been a big hold up. And there you can see the 100 and the 200 kind of in the way. You can see what happened last bull run and the bull run before. This is 2016 through 2018. As you see, we got halving, big dip down, but it jumped over that weekly 50 and took off, right? Same thing here in our last bull run. We had our halving, we had our dip down, it held the 50, it took through the 200 and it took off and it never really stopped. Way bigger dip down here, all right? Really, really dug the knife in, and Bitcoin really shined as the king for quite an extended period of time here. Now, finally, obviously, it's gotten up there, but it's going so far so fast that it's gotten overbought. It may have a little bit more juice left here, so I don't want you to think it's over, but I'll definitely say it's had a hell of a run versus Bitcoin. I'm not sure how much longer it can go. Now, look, daily, you're still not sold off here. You're still over the 8 EMA as far as ETH versus Bitcoin goes. Could be so much worse. A lot look worse than this. You know what I mean? A lot look worse than this. All right, 8 likes. We got 8. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's get a couple more likes. Come on, fellas. Come on, fellas. Come on, fellas. Likes are free. Likes are free. I'm just goofing now, trying to keep my mind right. All right, so that's Ethereum. Now, I got some requests here I want to go through. And we'll start with Aerodrome. This has been impressive. Amongst all the things that are red and looked really bad, you got these like Aerodrome right here that continue to shine amongst the red. Now, it is all the way up to the weekly 786 right here. I actually have a box drone right there, that yellow box. That's 786886 Sniper's Alley. Right there. Right about there. There you can see Sniper's Alley, and you can see the clean price action that it's kind of ran to and stopped right there. Now, weekly still has more juice to run if it would like. We look at monthly, you're just starting to get runs up on the RSI there. It's only making a baby move so far. Now, obviously, this looks good, but I want to warn you, most don't look like this, and the ones that have gotten up here, i.e. Link and ADA, have slowed down from this point. This is a dragonfly doji at the top. A lot of times, this can signal reversal. This is what Bitcoin did a couple weeks ago through a very similar candle. I'm sorry, it threw an ugly candle, but alts threw candles like this, and they reversed very aggressively. Luckily, though, this thing's held up pretty well so far. Daily, you are hitting some resistance right here. You can see it kind of like what Bitcoin's weekly chart looked like. That's what Aerodrome's daily chart looks like. That being said, she's still over the 8. She's still flying high. She was a bunch of overboughts, and it does have some bearish divergence on the RSI. So make your mind up on what you want to do, but this one has continued to fly high, and I got to give it a check mark. It could be worse. AVAX. All right. I got XDC on the list already, Panda. Yeah, that's right. I agree, Dabs. Still hasn't taken out the high from June 17th. Sucks. All right, so interesting thought process here. AVAX shows me something a little different here. A lot of these have failed and fallen under the 50 and the 8 and the 21 and the 100 and 200. AVAX hasn't done that yet. AVAX still holding on pretty tough here. Holding on to the 50 moving average for now, but it's underneath the 821. Kind of stuck in the mud a little bit. I get it. But a lot have failed farther. And because of that, even though it's lower highs, I get it. It's still a higher low as far as the uptrend goes. Doesn't want to let go. Now, if I flip it over versus Bitcoin, here's where it gets interesting. It's pinned down by the 200, but it's got everything else underneath it here. Now, it is in the wait a minute zone. It is kind of thinking about it right here in between the 821 EMA. But look, I mean, there's a lot of upside here if this thing gets moving. It's so far down that there's so much upside. Makes me want to wonder, is this Bitcoin going to give up? Or is this AVAX and some alts are going to fight back? I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm not sure. And this is a very subjective set of fibs I'm pulling. It's hard to exactly get a good read on these fibs right now. A lot of wicks and stuff, and we really don't have any breakouts. So I'm not sure if any of these fibs are even going to be valid for now. But weekly, decent. Daily better. And then versus USDT, AVAX is not terrible. Now, obviously, I want to see a little bit more, right? But we could have some power come through here in the next couple weeks. Are we going to get rate cuts? Probably not. Probably not. Is the market pricing in no rate cuts now? Probably so. But you can't know that. That's just me guessing in both directions. So rather than guess, let's see how it plays out. All right, let's do XDC. All right. Okay, so XDC slowed down very aggressively. That sucks. So still very, very sharp downtrend there. Can't really miss it. Bang, 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 bang. Having a really hard time finding any buy volume at all. Big sweep down from the MACD, just loaded up with sell volume. You've fallen underneath the 8, underneath the 21, and underneath the 50 moving average. So that's going to be a bit of a speed bump in the way to progress. RSI is nominal at 43. That's no help, but I mean, look, that thing just fell off a cliff from overbought. Overbought straight to the pits of mid. So there's your daily. How about weekly? Fighting the 8 EMA right now. You did have a very aggressive run up. Come up, lower high here. You'd like to see a higher high. That was a lower high. So now it's kind of settling out, trying to find a higher low in here to see if it can try to make a new high. Now, it hasn't happened yet. That's still speculation. Fighting the weekly 8 EMA, needs to stay over it. That's 0.083. Anything below that leads us to more downside, and more downside would be those moving averages at about 0.075. That's more likely than not for now until this trend line breaks right here. Until that trend line breaks, I'm thinking more downside. Not being super pessimistic about it, just saying. XTC versus Bitcoin. What do you got? All right, it's going to be a similar story here, isn't it? And a little weaker versus Bitcoin. So 100 moving average weekly pressing down, but you are over. You are over the weekly 8, 21, and 50 moving averages. Cool. So you're over those, under the 100, under the 200. More left in this. It could possibly have some more left in it. How about the daily? So we saw USDT. It was only under the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 50 moving average. This one's underneath the 200 and the 21. It's over the 8 and over the 50. So it's in a really, really odd tweener spot where I'm not really comfortable buying it or selling it. I would rather just wait on this thing to kind of play out a little bit and then see what happens. For now, it's a little touch and go. I would wait on it just like I'd wait on the rest. I mean, I sold almost everything off. I think I'm in 94 or 95% stables now. You know what I mean? So it's part of the gig, man. Some ugly stuff comes in and we can't do anything about it except take the punch in the face. You know what I mean? But maybe this turns around. It's got a chance here in the next couple of days to turn around. We'll see if anything finds any power behind it, can get moving or not, right? I don't want to be a pessimistic Patty and a Debbie Downer, but the charts show pretty weak right now. You know what I mean? They show pretty weak. Gosh, my nose is itching. I trimmed on my mustache, and as I've gotten older, the mustache hairs right up underneath my nose kind of grow upward a little bit, and they tickle my nose sometimes. It's wild, dude. Old age is crazy. All right, CRO. That's me making old jokes about myself. Yeah, that's right.
Damn.
I know. All right, CRO. We haven't talked about this one a ton, and it's too bad because should have. It's done a hell of a lot. Look at that weekly jump up, take out the 200 moving average, fall back underneath it. That's also the 382 fib. So there's a little bit of hell here for it to play before it's got to clear the hurdles. As far as the daily goes, you just fell underneath the 821 EMA. You got 4 there, so it's a no for now. It looks like it's aiming for the 50 moving average to me, and or waiting on the 50 moving average to catch up to it. Either way, for now, versus the dollar, a no. Now, how about BTC? CRO, BTC. How's it performing versus the king? Now, looky there. She's actually trying to take back the 821 EMA here, and it looks like it wants to try go for a new high here. Now, obviously, I want to see it close up here. Whoops, this is better than most. Obviously, I want to see it close up there, right? Do a little bit more. Come on, baby. Get up there. Come on. Close up there 2 times. And at that point, well, maybe it's worth it to be in this instead of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? This is just showing us which one's a bit stronger. Is it CRO or Bitcoin? And for now, it looks like CRO wants to have a fight. I'm here for it. In a day or two, we'll know if it's there for it also. So I'm going to put a star beside this one because it's a maybe. H-bar. All right. Hash graph. All right, here's the daily versus the dollar. I used to drink every time I said Doge. And then we changed it to every time I said, I forget what that one was. But then we changed it to every time I say, oops, didn't mean to draw that. I had to take a drink. I haven't had a drink on the live stream in a long time. But the more I keep drawing lines incorrectly, the more I think I should probably take a drink every time I do it. You know what? I slept better last bull run. I think because we would have a drink and I would calm myself down before bed. It just doesn't work that way for me anymore. You know what I mean? I've gotten older and I don't want to drink a lot. But at the same time, it kind of did help me sleep. So anyway, H-bars underneath the 8, 21, and 50 moving averages here. Not quite good enough. Same story as the rest. This is a bearish back test for now. Any more downside here leans us toward 22.5 cents. And below that, if it gets real ugly, down to 20 cents. Weekly wise, you're fighting the 821 EMA. I'd like to see you stay over that 8 at 0237. 0237 changes some stuff. That would be a much better look. We'll see. Hold on, my thing's over here making noises, jingling on me. Hold on. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, trying, hold the line, don't let go. I got a leather laptop over here doing simulated trades, so it's making all kind of noises. You can't really hear it, but I can, even with the headphones on, which is crazy. But I did that so I knew it would work. How about let's go look versus Bitcoin? Dude, what's crazy is on my keyboard, the USDT is worn out. That's crazy, isn't it? So because I type USDT so much on this keyboard that those 4 keys will wear out. Go figure. All right. Bitcoin, H-bar versus Bitcoin daily. Better off. You're under the 821 EMA, but you're over the 50 and the 200 and the 100. That's better. Weekly wise, you're over the 8 EMA still. Much ado about nothing versus Bitcoin. For now, it's showing that it's actually better to be in H-bar than it is to be in Bitcoin. Pretty wild. That's a bold statement, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but the charts say it could hang on here maybe. We'll see. I'm very sketched out by it, but this one's getting a star put beside it so I can watch it more. Alchemy. This is brand new listed on KuCoin, MEXC, Gate, and all of them. All right. Obviously, this was on. It was just called ADS before they've rebranded. We can find the best chart here. We don't really have a very good daily chart to go by, but we do got hourlies to go by. Alchemy, USDT. How about KuCoin? What you got? That's going to be about all we got, right? So 4 hour, you're underneath the 4 hour 8 EMA here. Like to see it jump over that and not be underneath it. Baby steps. Let's see if it gets there. 2 hour, you're underneath all the moving averages there. 1 hour, you're fighting moving averages, trying to get back over. You're over the 8, but under the 21. So this really just looks like consolidation to me. Not very much data on the chart. Very difficult to chart things with very low data. So I don't give it too much credence, and I don't like when you see a big run up like this with no behind back tests. It's kind of spooky. It leads me to believe that we're probably going to have some wonky price action or some downtrodden times in here, and I don't want you to get ahead of yourself. Be careful, all right? I don't know if we can even, well, we can try doing the math. Let's see if it pulls up. Yeah, pretty much the same chart versus Bitcoin. So it's in between yay and nay. It's in between yay and nay. This is Alchemy versus Bitcoin. Straight up with 2 or 3 reds, right? Few coins have done this. Most haven't. Most haven't. is what it is. Mullet says it was XRP. What do you mean it was XRP? I'm sorry. Good to see you, Mullet. All right, so I'm going to say no on this one for now until I see some more data. All right, we haven't talked. We haven't discussed enough. Good old DAG.
Come on, man.
I know, but we're going to do it right now, okay? I have a special thread just in the Discord just for DAG, right? wap.com/team786. You can see it there. I have one for all the top 25 coins, stocks and equities of importance, the Magnificent Seven, crypto stocks and miners. Obviously, we have other threads in there for different stuff too. DAG is one of them. Obviously, XRP and all that kind of stuff. They have their own section in the Discord, and we keep up with them constantly. And I keep up with this one also. Not because I own any. Oh, I'm not going to. Oh, XRP, take a drink. I got you. It was XRP to take a drink. Damn, that's right. I remember that now.
Damn.
That's crazy. I'm glad you remember that. Anyway, so for the weekly here, nothing's changed too much. We are still on this trend line, and this shows like it wants to bounce. But there's absolutely no volume to move this thing off the floor here on the weekly. Right? Weekly targets still remain the same if we get a breakout, that 065 level. All right, here's the daily for you. Again, no volume here. Look, that MACD is just basically sideways, no volume. And we got a ton of traffic. You've got the 50, the 200, the 100, the 821 EMA, all in the way of progress right here. We need to see this price over top of this and back test and support. Until it does that, for me, this is still a bit of a stinker. And it can't get out of its own way. Just needs to get over the hump is all. It can't. Every time it tries to get over the hump, sell pressure comes in. Blame it on whatever you want to. I don't care. The blame doesn't matter to me. I just want to see the chart do better. Once the chart does better, hey, we can be off and running, right? You're going to hear, oh, it's because of this, and you don't understand utility, and show me how that's ever made you $1. And you won't be able to, unfortunately. It'll all be I feel like. And I feel like doesn't get it. So baby steps. She's not terrible. Could be better. I like to see what it looks like beginning of the week maybe. All right. Now we can do some XRP stuff. This was requested. It's one of the most requested ones that we do. Pretty wild how much people want to know about XRP. So, sold off most of this already. Only have a little bit left. He's failed the 821. You failed the 50. And yesterday's candle was more proof that I should probably walk away from this. And I'll tell you why I necessarily haven't yet. All right. So if this fades much farther, we got some support down here at around 275. That's from the previous highs over here that it made earlier in the year. All right. It's digging in really, really rapidly through the 8 EMA here. I think it's going to hang on to the 21 at least. And that level coincides a little bit with the 275 mark and that 261 mark down there at the 100 moving average. Once you usually fail the 821 and 50, well, the 100 becomes a soft target, right? Is it going to get there, or is it going to hold on to 275? Tough question. All right. So if I pull these fibs off and I show you a little bit more zoomed in view here, I pull fibs from this low down here to this high up here. I'm going to drag it over where it's clean and we can see it better. You can see we've kind of broken trend right there, and now we're playing with failing the 382. You fail the 382, the 50 fibs right down there. That 50 fib happens to line up with the 100 moving average. Now, how far down is that? That is about 7 to 10%. That sucks. Kicker here, XRP BTC. All right, so even if this fails a little more like it's doing right now, and this XRP BTC chart rolls over a little bit more, you see it's under the 821 and 50. You've got the 200 moving average and the 50 fib right here in this section, right here near this red box that I've got drawn, okay? Is that going to be the downside limiter? Would that line up with the 275 mark? And the answer is pretty darn close with the 275 mark. If it holds 275, it would be silly to run away now. That's only a couple percent. That might not even be worth bothering. If it's not going to hold 275, things are going to get ugly real quick. If she fails this 200 moving average and the 50 fib, XRP versus Bitcoin daily, if it fails that, then we're coming down to the golden pocket. You come down in that golden pocket and we just slow down for a long time because this is going to be a tough recovery to come back from. All right? Just the way it is. Now, that orange line up there is still my target. All right, that orange horizontal line. Let me move these moving averages. That looks crap. That orange horizontal line right there is still my target for the bull run. That's been resistance since 2019, 2018, 2017, 2015, 2013. It's been playing around with this line versus Bitcoin. All right, just the way it is. We don't need to make any mince any words about it. It's been at this level for a long time. And I have white vertical lines right here to show us where we are as far as price action goes. This was back in 2017. This is back then, and this is now over here on the right. I think the orange line probably gets struck again. What does that mean for upside? Well, it depends on how far down Bitcoin goes and how much of a flow we see from one asset to another. I'm not certain we're going to get this incredible massive flow in like a lot of people are, but we'll see. So I'm thinking about scheduling a meeting with Powell. That's a good idea, Panda. Let me write this stuff down. By the way, if you guys don't do it, I highly suggest it, but get you a legal pad, get you some highlighters and ink pen, and write this stuff down, man. Write down what you think. Put a date beside it. Make a note of why you're necessarily saying what you're saying to yourself or what you're thinking at the time, so you can go back and remember it, reanalyze, maybe check yourself and go, hey, man, I messed this up, or hey, man, I was wrong here. Whatever it is. It helps out a lot for me. Writing stuff down and coming back and double checking it has meant a lot of savings in time and energy. Now, obviously, I'm going through so many that it becomes a bit of a headache for me. But for you, if you're not looking through hundreds of assets a day like I am, and you're just doing a couple, that's not as bad. And you got plenty of stuff to write down, note, take advantage of, and make better decisions with. Well worth a couple dollars. IOTA. USDT. All right. So I was looking at this pre-stream here. A guy requested this and said, can you look at IOTA? I think it looks like XRP. Unfortunately, sir, this does not look like XRP at all. It is a mile behind what XRP was in. This is the top of the bull run right here. December 2021. Let me see if I find an older chart. What about Binance? Yeah, there we go. Binance has got it. Oh man, back when I used to use white charts. Look, with the black fibs in here. Let's go, dude. And the blue fibs. That's awesome. That was me charting last bull run. Look at how well IOTA did last bull run. Really, really showed out. I used to leave that stuff on there, but I'm gonna take it off so I got a cleaner look. Anyway, top of the bull run here. So I'm gonna pull from the very tip top all the way to the bottom. And what's interesting here is you will see that some of these show up to the first quarter of 2026, still having some time for price action. I'm very curious with the government doing what they're doing with money and monetary policy, if we have a Q1 2026 alt run. It happened in last time too. January, February, March, we still had some charts popping off before they really, really, really took off to the negative side. Now, Bitcoin was kind of an afterthought at that point. But a lot of money got made back then. So let's keep our eyes open. Maybe there is more to it. But this fib shows out, looks like it could come out here to Q1 of 2026, but more likely the end of 2025. We're still under the weekly 236. XRP is all the way up here at the weekly Sniper's Alley. So there's a big difference in price action here. All right. You're underneath all of the moving averages. As you see right there, the 50, the 100, the 8, 21, and the 200's up there bearing down just in case it does break out. Daily wise, it's going to be a similar story. This thing's all tied up and wadded up in the moving averages. It's not the bad thing, but with the price action that we got right now, low, higher low, low, lower low, and lower highs, not good enough. I want to see higher highs and higher lows, not lower highs and lower lows. It started off good. You had your low, your high, your higher low, but you needed a higher high and you didn't get that. You got a lower high. That's not going to cut it. So for the time being, not quite good enough. Now let's go look at versus Bitcoin, IOTA versus BTC here. Now, worse but higher upside. Why do I say that? Because it's not really done anything except in November where it made a little move to the 100, smack fail. Last time I did this, it fell off very, very aggressively. It's done so this time too. Equal lows here, not a lower low. Well, so that's not bad. Problem is on the daily, you got the exact same price action. Whoops, didn't mean to draw that. You got the exact same price action, fading underneath the 50 and the 100 with the 821 kind of right in the way. 200 moving average bearing down. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, man. It's iffy at best. A lot of these are iffy at best, and you better be very, very careful because if this thing turns around and goes the wrong way on you, you're going to be pretty heartbroken. I don't want anybody to be heartbroken, all right? Written in hand commits to memory. Exactly. That's a good way of putting it, Cheese. That's a good way of putting it. Talking about a legal pad. Written in hand helps the memory. Let's go look at RBNT. We're running out of time here, but that's okay. This one's for Cheese. Well, check it out now. RBNT on the weekly chart. Still pretty terrible. Hasn't made its move off yet. Stuck under the weekly AEMA. Daily wise, you had a really solid candle come in yesterday. I think it was at one point 15% up. I think it closed the day around 7 or 6% up. Stuck under the 821 EMA now in the wait a minute zone after throwing what was a very ugly candle right there. That's called a gravestone doji. Why? Well, it looks like a gravestone. That's your little holder at the bottom and the big piece up here where you write RIP, right? You could also call it an inverted hammer or a shooting star. None of those sound good. So for now, we're still stuck. You got the 50 and the 100 holding it down. We flip on the cloud here. Same story. She's stuck in the mud. Might be a little bit before it gets out. Not to say there isn't a lot of upside. But for now, she's not quite there. BTC, USDT. Let's chart this versus Bitcoin. Shall we? And we shall. Weekly, same story. Stuck under the AEMA. I don't like the drag. I don't like the doji at the top right here, the top of these candles. That doji at the top signifies reversal, and that reversal would be back down. More lows right here would be absolutely devastating to this chart. On the daily, don't hate this. She's trying to get back over that 50 moving average right there. You get over that 50 moving average, you change some minds, because then it's all of a sudden better to be in RBNT than it is to be in Bitcoin. And you might see this with a lot of altcoins, but we have no proof of it yet. I want to say yes. But the problem is a lot of these are still laying over, showing that they don't want to get going yet. And if that's going to be the case, I don't want to get anyone stuck in anything and then nobody start blaming it on me. You know what I mean? Holding Eckerd VWAP for the low. That's fair also. A lot of people like the VWAP. It's sort of a nice slow moving average on the chart. And I even seen people on CNBC and stuff talking about the VWAP, which is cool. That means, you know, they're taking their time to learn a little bit about technical analysis and statistics, because really this is just statistics. I get something to drink here. All right. Cardano. Damn, this has been recording the whole time. Oh no, not the whole time. Just at the end of RBNT. I'll trim that end of that off. So, ADA. You looked good last week. And then what? Then this week happens. Big bearish engulfing. Just a letdown and a half. Big fall off. But still in the wait a minute zone. You see that? We're still in between the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA. This is the wait a minute zone. What should we do? What should we just sit here and wait a minute? All right. Sit here and wait a minute. Let's see if it can figure its way out of the hole here. All right. If we fall below that 8 EMA and the 21 EMA, 50 fibs at 82 cents. So the downside's a little less. And then you got the 50 moving average slowly creeping up there. All right. It's still over the 50 fib on the weekly, as you see, and it's over every moving average on the weekly. One would say, quote unquote, this is okay. Now, that's tough. I'll throw in some more stuff for you. The pivot point is right below the 50 fib, and technically, this is okay. I know it's ugly for the moment, but technically, this could be worse. I need to see you hang on. All this sell pressure rolling in constantly is just crushing our timeline and crushing our gains. So, just come on. Show me a little bit more here, and then we can dance. I'll see ADA versus Bitcoin. There we go. Cardano versus Bitcoin. All right, so we've faded underneath the 8 EMA versus Bitcoin, so you're slacking off a little bit here. But note, you have support from the 21 EMA and the 200 moving average, MA, the red line and the purple line right here. You have support there. Excellent. Below that, 50 moving average and 100 moving average. I also want you to note that it's above all of them except the 8 EMA, but that's a very rapid moving one. And you do not have a golden cross yet, which would be the 50 moving average crossing through that 200 moving average. Hasn't happened yet. Typically, we get some good movement and price action when that happens. Problem. Weekly, you're underneath the 100 moving average on the weekly. That's that blue line, and you're stuck dead under it. In fact, it rejected so angrily that it's now fallen back underneath the 50 moving average. Dang it. You see what I'm saying? Shows decent and then just rips the Band-Aid off every time it gets a decent gain going. One of those worries that I have, sup Stifler? One of those worries that I have is about this stuff getting to a point where it can't get over the hump, hitting a dead head, and then just stalling out and not having the gas to get moving. Unfortunately, a lot of them are doing this, and gosh, it's just soaking the liquidity. Then you got the other stupid stuff happening, like I'm looking over here watching X and watching different stuff online. Freaking Kanye comes out with a coin. 5 of the wallets didn't buy a single coin and all made $1 million. How much longer are we going to fall for this stuff? I mean, come on. What are we doing? Why do we got to... You guys realize how bad it makes us look to the rest of the world that y'all keep putting billions of dollars in stupid shit, right? Or do you not realize that? And that's the problem. Maybe the market doesn't realize how silly it looks. But I promise you, this is how we get laughed out of rooms. I've been laughed out of rooms a couple times now. Like last time I got laughed out of a room was this time last year. And the time before that was back in 2023. The time before that was back in 2020. So I know we're not taking as serious as we could be because of stupid stuff like this. We got to do better, fellas, ladies, if you're watching. Continuously chasing degenerate gains just equals just as quick losses. Do you guys not understand that? That the more risk you take, the less likely you are to make money? Sure, you could make a lot, but you don't have a lot to risk. So why do you keep throwing all your chickens into all your eggs into one basket, hoping you get a bunch of chickens? All you're getting is scrambled eggs. You got to stop at some point and realize that this stuff isn't going to work the way you want it to if you keep being a degenerate like you are. I don't want to see anybody being degenerates. I want to see everybody do well. You know what I mean? So please rethink your strategies. If your strategies are to go do silly stuff like that, it's not helping. Shout out to the chat box. Let me go read the messages real fast. She says, written in hand commits to memory. That's very well said. Hold anchored VWAP. Yep. Asia sets range. Yep. Down candle can eventually turn into bullish order block. Absolutely it can. Bull market's always right, not theory. Yep. Theory allows probabilities to be played. Risk management's your best friend to prevent looking a bit silly and have an ego ruined. Absolutely. I've had my ego smashed multiple times now. The interesting thing is, some of the people who are the most against me don't realize how big of an ego they have to think that pointing the finger at me doesn't mean that there's four fingers not pointing back at them. You know what I mean? It's one of them things that it took a while for my brain to wrap around that. You know, I get criticized and stuff, but the people who criticizing me would never come on here and do this. You wouldn't come on in front of the world and tell everybody what you're doing or be completely honest with people. You just wouldn't. You would say no. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to show my face. And then there's me out here not caring and just doing it, right? A guy told me a while back, if you're going to do this YouTube stuff, you got to commit to it and just do it, right? And keep making content. Brother, I make content all the time, and we are a brick wall as far as engagement goes. Fairly sure with Shadow Band over on the old YouTubes. 20 viewers with 10,000 subs is wild. But what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I've talked to some people about starting some new accounts. I've thought about starting a new YouTube channel that starts over and isn't shadow banned any longer. You know what I mean? I don't know yet. I haven't made my mind up on that either. That's just going to seem like I'm being crazy or whatever. And that's not what I'm trying to do. It's just, I'm dealing with the facts here. These things are out of my control. So, market simply could not give one single toss about Pierce's ego. Absolutely right. It could not care less. It couldn't care whether you think it's toxic. It couldn't care whether you think it feels good or feels bad. It just is. So, listen, thank all y'all for watching. We had almost 300 people on here tonight. Not like a normal stream on a Tuesday where we get 700, 800, 1,000 people. I'd like to see that, but the problem is the market's too shit right now. So it's going to continue feeding more and more losses until we see some charts shape up. I'm seeing things turn red now in the background over here. I keep my list up all the time, just watching it, see if it turns red, turns green. And then I can quickly click on one. Battling back and forth like this is just slowing us down and hindering us. Again, I don't really think we get anything super important that happens until Jackson Hole is tomorrow with Powell talking, but I don't think that's going to amount to anything. September 17th is the next rate meeting. I don't expect a rate cut then. Then you've got October, November. We're simply running out of time here, folks. I'm hoping that the market starts to price in some rate cuts at some point. I'm hoping that the monetary policy changes in our favor. I can't make it happen. Doesn't matter what kind of bullish news you get. Doesn't matter what kind of things happen until the landscape shifts in our direction. It doesn't even matter about just us. It's stocks, equities, bonds, indices, and all of them. They're all stuck suffering, waiting on a couple very, very wealthy, rich people to make some decisions for us. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. It means the world to me that you guys come here and hang out. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. You'll never understand how much I appreciate that. I want everybody, please make the best of your todays the worst of your tomorrows. Let's have a better day tomorrow than we had today, okay? And I know I sound down on energy, and I am. I'm sorry. Sorry. I can't always be crunk up on here. Last but not least, if nobody else told you today, Keith will tell you, Keith loves you. Seriously. If you need somebody to talk to, jump in the Discord general chat. It's free. And I'm happy to talk to you about whatever you need to talk about. We don't do that enough. You know, men don't watch out for men's mental health very much. But I think it's important that we do that. You know what I mean? So thank y'all. I appreciate it. We'll be back live Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm doing a simulcast. All right. I'll be breaking down the Panthers film at 2:30. And then we'll have a live stream at our normal time, 4:20. And then that's 2 streams back to back. We should have a ton of people on. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. See y'all on Tuesday. Please have a good weekend. I'm heading to Atlanta to try to not look at charts for a little bit. We'll see how that works. I'm an addict, so I don't know that we'll be able to. Nonetheless, I appreciate it. Y'all be good. Sky's the limit. I'm out, man. Peace.